And welcome back, everybody. Right now, there are new questions about al-Qaeda's possible role in those deadly attacks in Libya that killed U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens and 3 other brave Americans. Was the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi planned by a pro-al-Qaeda group? Al-Qaeda's praised the attack, yet to take responsibility for it, though. Or was it another spontaneous anti-American protest like we're seeing all over the world following a similar outbreak of violence in Cairo? Also, just one day before those deadly attacks in Benghazi, al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri issued a message announcing the killing of the network's #2 leader by U.S. drone strike in Pakistan back in June, calling for revenge. Was that the motive? Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge following everything live from Washington. Hi, Catherine.
Well, Jamie, good morning. According to the president of Libya's interim assembly, more than 50 people are now under arrest for the attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, with the blame falling on the al-Qaeda affiliate in North Africa. As Fox was first to report Thursday, a leading suspect is a group called Ansar al-Sharia that has tried to establish an Islamic state in eastern Libya. The Libyan president blamed foreign fighters from Mali in West Africa and Algeria in North Africa for the assault. Foreign fighters is code for al-Qaeda affiliated groups or jihadists. Law enforcement and congressional sources tell Fox that they still don't have good visibility on who these people are and the basis of the arrests, suggesting 50 are under investigation and just a handful of actual arrests have taken place. A Libyan security guard has told the McClatchy newspapers, and this is a significant development, that there were no protests before the Benghazi attack and that the assault did not begin until 9:35 that evening. Quote, "There wasn't a single ant outside," the Libyan security guard told the reporter with the McClatchy newspapers. "Wouldn't you expect, if there were protesters outside, that the Americans would leave?" Fox News is told investigators are also reviewing incidents over the last 3 months. 4 attacks beginning June 6th with an improvised explosive device, or IED, was thrown at the U.S. consulate's perimeter. Mid-June, the British ambassador's motorcade was struck by an RPG. An armed gunman attacked the Tunisian consulate. And in late August, the International Red Cross was also struck. Given that threat picture, the U.S. consulate was in the crosshairs.
This was a place that was targeted months before with an IED. It's clearly a target that they wanted to hit, and they wanted to cause casualties. I find it a little, you know, the glaring question of a 9/11 date. There's just too many coincidences here.
Well, it's early in the investigation. Based on my conversations, the other leading group is called the LIFG. This is the Libyan Islamic Fighting Group. This is a group which is closely allied with the al-Qaeda affiliate in North Africa, and this is a group that has traditionally sent fighters to Afghanistan to fight against the United States. Jamie.
Thank you, Catherine, very much.
You're welcome.
Let's take a look at the countries that saw regime change as a result of the so-called Arab Spring. Take a look at this photo. This is what they call a class photo. Muammar Gaddafi convened this group less than 2 years ago. These are some of the leaders of Arab and African states around the world. Take a look at this guy. That's President Ben Ali of Tunisia. He left office as a result of the Arab Spring in January of 2011. Next to him, President Saleh of Yemen. He's also gone, forced from power in February of 12. Muammar Gaddafi, you know what happened to him just about a year ago in October of 2011, killed by his own people. And Hosni Mubarak, he is also out of power, out since February of 2011. Let's talk about it with Seth Jones, the author of Hunting in the Shadows, The Pursuit of Al-Qaeda Since 9/11. He just returned from trips to the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Afghanistan. Big picture, Seth, why so much turmoil in the Middle East right now?
Well, I think there are a range of militant groups that still exist in these areas. Several of them are directly associated with al-Qaeda. And I think what they're trying to do is fill a vacuum in countries from Libya through Egypt and Yemen and into the Gulf. And we're seeing, as part of these protests, I think, efforts to try and take advantage, as we're now seeing in Libya by al-Qaeda's affiliate Ansar al-Sharia to target U.S. interests. So I just don't see this as just being spontaneous.
But haven't some of the top people in the Obama administration told us that al-Qaeda is essentially on the wane, that we have, you know, by taking out Osama bin Laden and others, we have decimated that organization?
Well, I think they said that publicly. I think in reality we've seen quite the opposite in a range of places. The al-Qaeda in Iraq. I mean, the president has said the war in Iraq is over. Al-Qaeda in Iraq's attacks are double what they were last year. We've seen Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula and Yemen. Its control of territory has somewhat increased along southern parts. So I think the reality is we're not seeing the words of the administration translate into actions on the ground.
So why, for instance, did we not have better security at our outpost in Libya?
I can't answer that question. But what I can say, as you noted a couple of minutes ago, is it is stunning based on the sheer number of attacks over the past several months in Benghazi alone, including an attack against the British ambassador, that we did not have better security for our ambassador who was at the consulate in Benghazi. It really was a very serious terrorist threat in that area.
Susan Rice, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, was on the Sunday shows over the weekend saying that those were just spontaneous uprisings, especially there in Libya, and that it was not any kind of a coordinated attack. Your thoughts?
Well, it's interesting because that picture somewhat diverges from what senior Libyan officials are now saying, where they have information of conversations when the protests in Cairo had started between members of al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb and Ansar al-Sharia to take advantage of what they viewed as an opportunity and to push fighters and weapons into the consulate in Benghazi. So the picture that Susan Rice presented clearly contradicts what Libyan officials are saying actually happened.
All right. Seth, thanks very much for your insights. We know you've just been in the region. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.